So, first off, Demian Maia hasn't been, living his best career moment yet, but he's a pretty big name, of course. So, how excited were you when you first got the agreement?
I was ecstatic to get the news, to be able to fight someone I consider a legend of the sport. He's been around for a long time, and I've even, in his past fights, I've even rooted for him and everything. So it's surreal now to have the opportunity to fight someone of his caliber.
And when you prepare for someone like him, he's the type of guy like you pretty much know what he's gonna do. He won't change up anything, but what he does, he's so good at it. So how do you prepare for a guy like him?
Obviously, it's one of those cases where he specializes in something and he's really good at it. So I'm just gonna have to go out there and do what I specialize in, and just go out there and just impose my will. At the end of the day, it's just who wants it the more, who wants it the most.
What were some of the specific things that you worked on in camp to prepare for him? Like, I mean, when you fight somebody who's really good at this one thing, and obviously his ground game, some people are like, yeah, I don't want to go to the ground at all, and some people are like, no, I need to practice being there and being put in uncomfortable positions. So what was really your focus there?
Obviously, there was a lot of training for live situations, being put in that position. I'm not, I train to not be scared of the situation, to actually welcome it, because I feel like I'll be able to impose my skill set no matter what position I'm in. I'll be able to get back up from the ground if he takes me down. So I'm prepared for either, whether the fight goes down to the floor or we keep it standing.
And then there's the home factor, right? And a bunch of factors. He's the guy who has really established himself. He's the two-time former title challenger, and he's the guy fighting at home. Do you feel like maybe this is a situation in which he's the one who has really the most to lose here?
Well, at the end of the day, I'm unranked at the moment, so it's a little bit of a risk. I would assume him taking a fight against me. But, going into this fight, I don't feel any pressure. It's not my home crowd. I love the fact that the Brazilian community is very loyal, so it doesn't affect me. I actually appreciate it. I appreciate how loyal they are to their people. But I'm just willing to go out there and just fight, because at the end of the day, when the cage door locks, there's only two people inside of that octagon.
He's coming off 3 losses, but those 2 losses came against the champion and the top contenders. What does this win means for you in terms of rankings and getting closer to a UFC title shot?
Well, obviously against Demian Maia, who's a ranked opponent, me beating him will give me the opportunity to rise and climb up the ranks.
He's a very nice guy, obviously. It's something that everybody knows about Demian. And it really, some fighters, I think, thrive off of having that animosity, or of having like that type of negative emotion or the build-up. And with him, nobody's going to get that, right? He's not going to come out talking trash about you. How do you feel about that type of fight promotion? Do you welcome it?
I wish there were more people like him. The sport needs to kind of go back to its roots about having respect, honor, honor and loyalty, and all the great things that made the sport great. I feel like we kind of moved away from that, and it's more about trash talking and all this stuff. But I appreciate he's that way, because I'm the same way as well. I always give respect to my opponents. Obviously Demian Maia is where he is for a reason. He's been doing this for a long time. So I appreciate the fact that he is that way, because I'm the same way as well. I bring a lot of respect into the sport.
You talked about this fight helping you climb up the ranks, and of course it's a big one. But do you already have any fights or types of opponent that you have in mind in case you get the win on Saturday?
I'm not focused on that at the moment. Demian Maia is the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
And about the crowd, I think everybody knows, like you said, the Brazilian crowd is loyal, and obviously you're okay with that, but it can get really loud, and I think it's kind of like a hostile environment. Have you done anything to prepare for that? Are you like thinking about that at all, or are you able to really tune it out once you go out there?
Part of being a fighter, that's actually a skill that I think most fighters have, is to be able to kind of block out the noise and the energy from the crowd and just only listen to your coach, listen to your corner. But you know what? I've been there before. I've been, home crowds against me. It's about how you perceive it. I don't perceive the energy as negative. Again, I appreciate the energy, because I know all they're doing is just being loyal to their people. Same as if I fought in my country, they'd do the same for me. So I don't see it as anything negative. Like I said, at the end of the day, there's only 2 people inside of that octagon. It's me and it's Demian, and I just tune everything out. I just listen to my coaches in my corner.
You're a former champion in Bellator, and Eddie Alvarez so far is the only one who was able to win titles in Bellator and the UFC. Winning against Demian Maia is obviously a big win for you. It would take you up in the rankings. How special would it be for you to win titles in both organizations?
Those years are behind me as far as my, being a champion in Bellator. I'm looking for other opportunities to grace me with, the credential. Obviously, I'm looking to rise to the top, be a world champion at the UFC. But to be a UFC champion would mean the world to me. Right now, that's the only focus I have. I put behind me if I was an ex-champ here or an ex-champ there, because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter today. What matters today is where I'm going forward, where I'm going to be tomorrow. And I will be UFC world champion one day.
Is it fair to say that you're not really interested in maybe taking a fight with Ben Askren? He was the one who took the belt away from you in 2010, and now he's the UFC. Is that a type of fight that interests you because you will have a chance to take that fight back, or like you said, it's in the past?
I think that probably be the biggest plot twist in this, in MMA, is that I fought Ben Askren, lost to him in Bellator, but then I fight him again for the title in UFC. So it would be, I would be completely ecstatic for that. I mean, who knows? Who's to say? We don't know what's going to happen. Askren's got his focus on what he's going to do in UFC. He's got his plans, and I have mine. So we'll see in the future what happens.
There's a lot of expectations around him for his first UFC fight now in March. What do you expect from him coming to the UFC?
I expect what everyone expects out of Ben Askren. You look at him, you see his fights, you see his style. Obviously, he's going to do what he's best at. But I think, being that I had the experience of having fought him, it's very different when you look at his fights and you watch what he does versus actually feeling it. It's a very unique kind of pressure and feel that he has that is hard to replicate training for against him. So I'm very curious. I'm very excited to see where his career is going to be in the UFC. Because even though we fought before in the past, I don't have animosities against anyone. I'd like to see where he's going to be in the UFC.
Lyman Good versus Ben Askren for the UFC title. How does that end?
Like I said, that would be the biggest plot in MMA history, I think, is to lose a title in one promotion, but then years later, a much better, much more evolved Lyman Good comes back and fights him for a rematch.
How would you win?
I'm sorry?
How would you win?
How would I win? Any way possible. Submission, knockout, decision. I don't have a preference of winning as long as I win. I'm just looking for the W.